Self-Care Sunday. Every week, I want to be my best and make sure that I am living out our motto, perform for life. In this video, you're going to see a little bit of the things that allow me to recalibrate on a Sunday and make sure that I'm prepared for the week ahead.
I'ma run this town. Fire in my soul, got my eyes on the ground. I can't help myself lately, can't turn myself down. I'm in love with you, baby, but I let you down. I can't die in this town, I won't die in this town.
All right, so Self-Care Sunday can go a lot of different ways for me. More of a recovery workout, which for me is an active recovery workout. It's going to involve a lot of different cardiovascular devices that I'm either doing for a certain amount of time or a certain amount of distance. That's taking some getting used to. I can still cook, but it has, I definitely don't do it very often anymore.
What do you like to think about when you're here?
Man, I don't think I like to think about anything. I think when you're in a sauna, you just kind of naturally allow whatever's present to be present. Say sauna's like really, really good mindfulness. I think it's nice to be somewhere where, yes, I have my watch because I'll regularly look at my heart rate while I'm in the sauna, but I'm not messing around. There's very few times where I'm entirely disconnected outside of the evening hours, like when I put my phone on airplane mode, but I'm on through a large part of the day, and this is a nice time to just kind of disconnect. One of my newer favorites, doing a cold plunge. Putting myself in a situation where I'm largely in 40 to 50 degree water for about 5 minutes.
What's the little turtle man saying?
I'd say 44, if I had to guess.
Already started.
Is not.
Funk, rapid fire questions. That's what we're doing, right? What is your go-to comfort food?
Go-to comfort food. Right now, like a big snack is like dates, Brazil nuts, RX bar.
By the way,
I'm not getting in yet because it's chilly. I get in, ease my way in. All right, what do you got now?
I know it looks warm right now. It's actually probably like 40 degrees out, just to let y'all know right now. All right, Funk, beach or mountains? What do you prefer?
Beach, for sure.
Early bird or night owl?
Early bird.
Coffee or
Absolutely.
tea?
Coffee.
Okay.
Tea at night, sleepy time tea.
Favorite sports team?
Favorite sports team? My Ohio State Buckeyes.
Okay. Let's say professional basketball and football.
And I'm normally cursing when I get in here, and this is preventing me from cursing. I don't know what you even just said.
Basketball, football, pro team.
Football.
Football, okay. Let's go dogs or cats?
Cats are easier. Dogs are more fun and enjoyable.
Favorite vacation destination?
Vacation destination, Costa Rica or Puerto Rico.
Why? What do you like to do there?
I like to surf.
Favorite genre of music?
Genre of music?
Yes, sir.
Man, it depends on the vibe. Summertime, country, I could be EDM, I could be hip hop, old school rap, and old school rock in the 80s or 90s, depends.
Okay. City life, countryside.
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 Suburbs I like though. I like being close enough. I like going into the city, but I need to be away from it.
Got you. Now we're moving on to more PT related, right? Favorite exercise for improving flexibility, if I were to say one. I know that's hard.
Loaded, and I would use weight with a rear foot elevated split squat or like a lateral lunge or a Cossack squat.
Do you prefer manual therapy techniques over therapeutic exercises?
Can't pick one. At the end of the day, exercise is the goal. Sometimes you got to do manual therapy to kind of be a catalyst to the process.
Go-to modality when it comes to reducing pain and inflammation?
Light exercise. So usually a bike is a great place to enter. I could be walking, but movement is the best possible thing that we can do. Usually light exercise, and obviously it should be pain-free.
We're a sports rehab, but we also see other patients. So what are the differences when you see a high-level D1 athlete versus a non? How would you treat them different?
They've accumulated more prerequisites. So they have more prerequisite access to their joints. They're more competent with certain movements. They've developed certain capacity that allows them to repeat things at high levels of force with a lot of weight for longer periods of time. The things that we are striving for or working on can be found on a continuum, and regardless, we are looking to assess the person's baseline and ideally take them from where they're at to a new baseline.
Do you incorporate alternative therapies such as acupuncture, cupping, things like that?
At Rehab to Perform, we use dry needling. We use, scraping. The old days it was considered instrument-assisted soft tissue mobilization or Graston. Myofascial decompression or cupping, although I would argue that that still is largely overused and the benefits are overstated, and then hands-on.
What's your most favorite part of being in the sports physical therapy world?
I like working with people who bring a mindset of wanting to better themselves, people who engage in practice and understand the importance of being an active participant in the process.
How do you stay
Hold
up
on.
to date?
Oh, we're going in. We're going in. I'm gonna flip to this side. Hold on.
My turtle man. Oh my God. Okay. How do you stay up to date with the new studies and new things that are going on in the world?
That is a loaded question, and I think we're always in a situation where we're being reflective of our current process. Ideally, we're not getting too caught up in the silo that we are in. We're not getting too caught up in echo chambers that we're in. We're always looking to challenge our current thoughts and beliefs, and ideally putting ourselves in a position where we are getting exposed to something new, going through a process of determining whether or not it's relevant or is based in some kind of literature or research, and potentially incorporating it in our practice.
Can you share any specific self-care rituals or activities that you find particularly rejuvenating or relaxing or whatever?
Self-care for me is getting away from the phone, detaching from email, detaching from anything urgent, kind of letting the day just flow. In the morning, coffee, maybe coming sitting out here if it's warm or sitting in the chairs inside. Going to the gym, huge part of my self-care practices. I would say that although I don't cook as much, still having moments associated with food where, again, you're disconnecting, you're kind of caught up in my role more as a sous chef at this stage of the game, or potentially just being there for a part of conversation as food is being prepared.
Right. And I think we know this, but your favorite food to cook?
Favorite food to cook? I wouldn't say food, but meal. I'm a
Yes.
big breakfast guy. 3 eggs, 3 either turkey bacon or turkey sausages, 3 vegetables, and a handful of berries. That's usually my favorite go-to. Hits a lot of big rocks early on in the day, and ideally puts me in a situation where I'm fueling myself.
Are you watching any shows, movies, books right now?
March Madness. In the thick of things, watching both men's and women's side. Actually, it's kind of crazy, but it's the first year where I definitely know more women's players than men's players.
How do you balance your work and personal life? Like, especially, like, that's what today's about, right? So how are you doing this?
I don't think there's balance. I think you're always striving for it, but I look at more of a rhythm, and it's almost more of a seesaw. And I think that as it goes back and forth in life, sometimes you realize the bias that it has towards one direction, and you've got to do what you can to kind of flip the script a little bit. You know, you don't want to have it be stationary on one side more than the other. I would argue that the ability to recognize when you're maybe a little bit static on the personal side or static on your professional side puts you in a situation where then maybe you're pouring into another area, or you're changing something that you're doing on a daily basis.
If I were to ask you to put a mantra or a motto to this Sunday self-care day, what would you say? How would you put it?
Invest in yourself. The more that you invest in yourself to allow yourself to be your best, not just for yourself, but for others, the better off you'll be.
Personal hobbies, interests outside of work that you'll prioritize on a Sunday or any other day.
I would say largely spending time with your loved ones, family, friends, the gym, jumping into random sporting activities, going to the beach, traveling, probably my big ones.
Can you share any tips and tricks to creating a peaceful environment at home or on that Sunday? Or
A lot of it just involves less electronics, doing more of the things that you want to do instead of the things that you have to do, or doing more of the things that you view as being givers to your life as opposed to takers.
How do you handle stress?
I don't think about it a lot, and I think sometimes I could go in a variety of different directions here. People think about their stress too much. They think about being in a stress state too much. I just try to recognize when I'm feeling a little bit different than I would like to feel, and ideally come up with solutions. I don't like to wallow it in a whole lot. I'm not sitting in it. I'm going to, again, much like the rehab process, be an active participant in getting me back to where I want to be.
Can you talk about that time or experience that you had that made you take a pause and be like, hey, look, Sunday needs to be a self-care day for myself?
I think, honestly, just being fortunate to be out of the very challenging treadmill that you have to be on to start a business, it allows me to focus more on this. And it also allows me to be better as a person and ideally more effective with my time. In the beginning, you have to work hard to learn how to do things. Eventually, you learn how to do things. You become more efficient with your time. And then it does not put you in a position where you potentially have to sacrifice on the personal side as much to get where you want to be professionally. We're going to do a turtle check. Turtle check, 44, 45. And at this point, everything in the water is entirely numb. My toes, really random fun fact, I knocked off my big toenail 3 times during my playing career. And that is the only thing that probably is still talking to me. I don't know. It doesn't feel great when I'm in the ice bath for a long period of time, and it definitely takes longer for me to have that area like return to its normal.
What inspired you to become a CEO in the sports physical therapy industry?
I'm not a huge inspiration guy. I think naturally I just recognized the role that I had to fulfill as the company continued to grow and experience success. I think that I largely called myself a CEO before I earned it. You get to a point in time where, unfortunately, you have to go through a pandemic, and I think that was where I really earned my stripes. And the word responsibility and accountability come to mind when I think of a CEO. And at the end of the day, you are responsible for and accountable to the people in the organization, because at the end of the day, your organizational success is on the is attributed to the people in your organization. So if I focus on them, I'm responsible to them, accountable to them, I'm going to put us in the best possible position, and that again is the CEO's role.
Can you share just milestones in your life that you felt like helped you develop this person, that you can become the CEO and become this caregiver to all of us, right? Like, what are some of the milestones that helped you develop this character?
I think that you largely are going to put together things of which you've experienced intentionally or things that you've experienced that were not intentional. And you do your best to learn from everything. And I think at the end of the day, I try my best to learn from any situation, regardless of whether or not it was something that was proactive or reactive, and continue to make sure that each year when I reflect back on the past year or where I was 12 months ago, that I'm in a better situation. And that at this point, I realize more and more the importance of the personal side. I will only grow as a professional as I grow as a person, and I have to continue to put myself in a situation where I am at my best for myself. Otherwise, I'll never be able to be at my best for our team.
How do you stay motivated? Like, we were just talking about all the stresses, and you just had a stress this past week. How do you stay motivated? How do you stay positive to push us to continue to do what we're doing?
Yeah, I think it's not a motivation thing. I just know who I want to be. I know what direction I'm going in, and I'm aware that it is up to me to choose the habits that I need to choose on a regular basis to do those things. Motivation might be something that we start with, but motivation often is tied to an emotion or a feeling. Those are very fleeting in nature. I need to ground myself to things that largely are not attached to emotions or feelings, and put myself in a position where they're more tied to action. I need to be tying myself on a daily basis to action. So it's the habit, it is the routine, it is doing the things that get me in the direction that I want to be in.
Are there any particular strategies or principles that you've instilled into this company that you believe made us successful?
I think that one of the biggest things that hopefully people would agree on at R2P is operating with certain levels of autonomy, understanding that they can come in and be individuals within a successful framework, not feeling like they're micromanaged, and ideally able to come in and flourish with a company that will support them in the way that they might want to do things with a certain level of uniqueness.
How do you foster this culture of innovation, of growth, of like we're all young people trying to strive to do better and better? How do you build that?
That's not easy. I think talking about change is probably the biggest part of it, one of our operating principles is to be on offense at all times. So when you tell people to be on offense, you're telling them to think forward. If I think about some of the end of the year conversations that we had this year, it was, can you forecast future problems for yourself and for the company? I think that's an important question to ask. The more that you can forecast for your future problems, the more you're thinking about already acting on and working on solutions ahead of the problems that come about. So some of it is just the dialogues that we have, the conversations we have with each other to make sure that we're always thinking of a version 2.0.
Can you share, this last question here, can you share any insight or trends that you foresee in the industry?
I think that's always an easy thing to go a lot of different directions. Rehab to Perform will continue to grow with regards to the rehabilitative centers that we have in the DMV. I do think that there's more for us, and I think that as a result of us continuing to grow, opportunities will present themselves that maybe we didn't think about. But at the end of the day, what we're doing right now will be the core of our services. Anything that we're able to do, that we're either adding on additional services, finding ourselves in different environments, will largely be as a result of the foundation that we created, across the DMV with the rehabilitative services space. Cool. I am done.
Yeah, that's been like how long? Over
20 minutes?
Yeah.
Absolutely. I like you. I'm gonna dump your head. It's tough. So I'll work here sometimes. She'll work. Like if we're both on a call, it's like a matter of who can be the loudest. Yeah.
We have to be on like opposite ends of the house. We're both on calls. We both scream.
Yeah. The rest of my day, I could potentially be doing a neighborhood walk, potentially doing a yoga class, and overall doing what I can do to prepare myself for the coming week. Largely trying to disconnect from phones, emails, and ideally be present with people in my life. And as I mentioned earlier, put myself in a situation where I'm recharged to maximize whatever's going on in the week ahead.